Hello Internet, Zach here, and welcome back to Collecting the Elements. Since I've finally gotten my voice back, I can finally film the intro for this video that's been sitting on my hard drive for most of a month. This episode is about element number 15, phosphorus, the 11th most common element on the surface of the Earth, and one that's essential to every known form of life. In fact, it's in your DNA. It's an essential part of your cell membranes. And for us vertebrates, it's in your bones, as calcium hydroxyapatite. Phosphorus rarely occurs in nature in its elemental form. It's usually found in phosphate minerals, which are a combination of phosphorus, oxygen, and some metal or another. It's also found in fossils and in literally everything that's alive. Now, elemental phosphorus comes in two main forms. White phosphorus, which is very reactive and will spontaneously combust on contact with air. It's not fun stuff. And red phosphorus, which is much more stable, much less reactive, and is used in the striker pads of matchbooks, and that's where I'll be extracting phosphorus from in this video. So today, I'm going to be extracting phosphorus from the striker pads on these boxes of matches. And I have a bunch of these, and hopefully I'll have enough for a nice looking sample. So first, I'm going to cut the striker pads off. Okay, hopefully this is enough. I have a little ceramic container here that I can pour acetone into safely. I'm just going to start dropping these striker pads in here. Get them soaking in acetone. And that'll loosen up the glue that's holding the phosphorus and glass particles and all the other whatnot they put in here onto the cardboard. Okay, I'm going to give those a couple of minutes to soak. So now I can start scraping, there it is, scraping the mixture off. The tricky part is trying to get as little paper as possible scraped into here, but it's inevitable I'm going to get some little bits of paper that scrape off. These I can deal with later. And I'll be back when I'm done scraping these. "32 striker pads worth. And I think that'll be enough for an element sample. So I've covered it all in acetone, and I'm stirring it up to try to get as much of the glue as possible to dissolve off of here. I might do another washing with rubbing alcohol after this, just to see how much of the glue and other impurities I can manage to get out of here. Well, I'm going to mash and stir this for a while, and I'll be back. Second washing step, this time with 99% isopropyl alcohol. And
Mostly I'm just trying to dissolve any glues and binders and stuff out of here, and also break up the clumps. This is the third washing, this time with distilled water. And most of the lumps and clumps decided to float to the top, which I guess that makes them a little easier to get out of here, or get them smushed anyway. Well, I did lose some of the lumpy bits pouring the water off, but it's not a gigantic loss. I still have plenty of visible impurities floating around in here, but there might not be a whole lot I can do about that. This is about the best I'm going to get it for now. So I'm going to let this dry out and then get ready to ampoule it. Alright, the phosphorus is nice and dry now. And you might be able to see the little flecks of white impurities. But it's the best I'm going to be able to do. So here I have a pre-stretched ampoule. And if you've been watching this channel long enough, you know what a stretched ampoule means. I'm going to be sealing this under vacuum. The phosphorus may need a little bit of convincing to do any glowing, but that's okay. Trying to find a quicker way to get this in there. Try to scrape up every little bit of this. Because admittedly, it's kind of a disappointingly small sample. So now I'm going to attach this to the vacuum pump. Get an electrode ready. Flip on the high voltage. Flip on the pump. Okay, and that's just glowing the normal purple from air. I'm going to backfill this with some helium. That way I have as little oxygen as possible in here. Now it's properly backfilled with helium. I can shut off the pump now, seal this off, and then I'll show you how I'm going to convince the phosphorus to make its characteristic color glow. Well, that snapped. I lost the vacuum, and that's what ends up happening when the weather's so cold that the tubing to my vacuum pump has become too stiff to use. So, yeah. The new ampoule is cooled down. And I have the second failed attempt to ampoule the phosphorus. The bad news is, trying to break it open, I got some little chunks of broken glass in here. So, yeah, you can probably see the broken glass. I'm going to try to sort some of that out. Alright, the next step is going to be stretching the neck on this ampoule to make it really, really thin. That way, when I attempt to seal this off under vacuum, it doesn't collapse and pop. Okay, that is a very thin fill stem on that. Hopefully thin enough that when I heat it to try to seal it off, like I said, it doesn't collapse too quickly under the vacuum and it seals off nicely without breaking. Okay, I have the ampoule hooked up to the pump and evacuating, which it's doing a bit more slowly. Mostly because the fill stem is just so ridiculously narrow, out of necessity. But it is glowing. I'm going to try to backfill with helium. Re-evacuate. Backfill again. Re-evacuate. And I hope it turns out on camera, but the glow here is definitely not the glow of helium. So it's time to try to seal this off. Drop the high voltage. Grab the torch. Third time's the charm, they say. Alright, hopefully. Can definitely turn the pump off now. Grab the little foil electrode. Hook it up to the high voltage. Yes, we still have a glow. Awesome. Alright, next thing is to make a hanging loop. So twist my black insulated wire into a loop. Heat up some hot glue. It is so cold out here that the hot glue solidifies almost instantly.
Okay.
Stay. Don't roll over. Alright, make sure this is still glowing and that the glass doesn't have any stupid holes in it. Yes! Good. So I came back a couple of hours later to make sure that the tube is still glowing properly, which it is. And the shape of the discharge tells me this isn't air. Come on, focus. And of course there's enough high voltage floating around that it's freaking my phone out and freaking out the autofocus. But it's the kind of discharge shape that air just doesn't make. So I'm pretty sure that's from phosphorus vapor.
So here it is, a small sample of red phosphorus from matchbooks. That brings the number of elements on my table up to 32. But what am I going to do with all those matches now?